Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and week 3 is almost over with. We've got our Monday night game tonight between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. But with that said, I wanted to get a jump on the waivers for you guys this week to get you guys in a good position to be ready for week 4. So again, I'm going to go in by position, and obviously this is always based off of availability that is at least 30 to 40% available in most leagues. I'm not going to put people that might have 10%. It just doesn't make any sense for you guys. These are going to be players that are going to be worth it that you could possibly grab that might help fill out any injuries you guys might have, or maybe kind of pick up a nice little sleeper there. So the first guy I'm going to talk about, it's going to be the quarterback position with Jared Goff. Now, Jared Goff is available in about 55% of most leagues. He's got a great matchup against Seattle this week. He's had over 250 passing yards the last couple weeks, and he just looks really good in this offense. I will say this about Jared Goff. I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on the fact that he's not a big name. Their offense is getting better. You've got weapons like St. Brown. Obviously, you've got DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. I mean, there's just weapons galore. And one receiver that a lot of people aren't talking about is DJ Chark. I think he's done a really phenomenal job. So, again, if you're looking for streaming a quarterback, maybe your quarterback's hurt, maybe you had Trey Lance and Dak Prescott or something like that, Jared Goff's a good option to go after. Another quarterback I have as a good option is going to be Jacoby Brissett. He's going against the Falcons this week. He's available in 96% of most leagues, so obviously he's probably available for you. He's got a really good matchup, and he's been pretty consistent in the last 2 weeks. Ever since he's been really having that connection with Amari Cooper, he has improved drastically. He's been averaging over 220 passing yards the last 2 games, and he's had 3 touchdown passes in the last 2 games as well, which isn't, again, mind-blowing, but if you look at some of these other star quarterbacks that are just underwhelming, Jacoby Brissett might be somebody you might want to put in there, again, based off this matchup, and again, if you're super flex, another really good ad there. Now, as far as running backs, the first guy I'm going to mention is going to be Khalil Herbert. Now, Khalil obviously filled in really well with Montgomery being out. They're going against the Giants next week. He is available in 51% of most leagues, and right now, we're not sure what's going on with David Montgomery. He's day-to-day right now. We're keeping an eye on the injury. If he is out, obviously Khalil Herbert is going to be the number 1 waiver wire this week. Herbert did amazing, over 150 yards rushing and over 30 points in fantasy. He did a phenomenal job filling in. Now, I mentioned David Montgomery has a good start this past weekend, and had he had played, he probably would have put up very similar numbers. I'm not saying he's the exact numbers, but very similar. So again, Herbert is probably your number 1 waiver wire this week for you guys. Another waiver wire you want to grow after is Jamal Williams. Now, I like DeAndre Swift, and I think he's probably one of the top 5 backs in this league if he can stay healthy and they actually utilize him properly. But Jamal Williams has been the most effective running back for that Detroit Lions backfield. They're going against the Seahawks this week. Again, available in 40% of most leagues, which is a pretty big deal. I'm not sure why he's still available. He has led the backs in red zone carries. He had 2 touchdowns this past week, and he had 20 carries. I think DeAndre Swift's still kind of dealing with his ankle injury. I know they kind of talked it up as if there wasn't anything going on, but he is still dealing with that because he was kind of non-existent in this game where Jamal Williams took over. So he's definitely somebody you want to grab, especially if you're a Swift owner. You should be handcuffing him right now. The last guy I'm going to mention as a running back is another handcuffed and possible starter. Is going to be Alexander Mattison. Dalvin Cook went out in the game due to his shoulder injuries. Right now, it's dislocated. He is expected to play this weekend. Coming up, obviously, it's a day-to-day injury we've got to keep an eye on. But Madison is somebody you're going to want to grab just in case. They are going against the New Orleans Saints, which is a little bit tougher defense, but Madison is available in 46% of most leagues, so he's probably out there for you guys on waivers. And again, if you're a Dalvin Cook owner, you want to at least grab him as a handcuff. As far as wide receivers go, the first wide receiver I'm going to talk about is Mac Hollins. The Raiders, I don't know what happened to that game, but I will say Hollins did a really phenomenal job in that game. They're going against the Broncos. He's available in 99% of most leagues. He filled in really well being the second receiver with Renfrow out. Renfrow should be back from his concussion, but of course, sometimes those things can take a little bit longer. But the last 2 games, even with Renfrow in, Hollins has had 18 targets his way. And then this last weekend, he had over 150 receiving yards. So again, this is something that might actually come into something. So if you have the waiver space, or if you don't mind taking somebody off that hasn't really performed well, Hollins might be somebody you might want to keep an eye on. Another receiver I like is Zay Jones. Zay Jones got paid really well to go into Jacksonville. They're going against the Eagles, but he has not performed heavily. Now, the first week he had over 9 targets. his way. This past weekend, he had over 9 targets and actually performed pretty well. He is available in 90% of most leagues, so he is somebody that you might want to stream, or if you're in a deeper league. Zay Jones is somebody that might be starting to sprinkle into this offense and become more and more prevalent. Obviously, Christian Kirk's the number one target. I think Evan Ingram probably gets the next. But Zay Jones is somebody I like a lot. That's kind of a sleeper for the rest of the season. Another guy that I was surprised is still available is Chris Olave. He's available in 35% of most leagues. They're going against the Minnesota Vikings this weekend, so he's got a good matchup. But he's had 26 targets to him the last 2 games. That is phenomenal. Right now, he's averaging 13 targets a game. He is absolutely the number one option for Jameis Winston. It's not Michael Thomas. So the fact that Chris Olave is still available in 35% of most leagues is kind of blowing my mind. So check your waivers and see if he's there. He's somebody you're absolutely wanting to go after and grab right away. The last receiver is going to be Greg Dortch. Dortch is still available in 83% of most leagues, and he is seeing over 60 receiving yards a game. He's been He was targeted heavily in week 1 and week 3. And again, with Rondale Moore being out, now possibly AJ Green being out, realistically, Dortch is the second option behind Marquise Brown. So he is somebody that in an offense that's going to get targeted a lot, he's somebody that you definitely want to grab and, again, fill in for some flex options, maybe some injuries, something like that. So Greg Dortch is somebody I'm also considering grabbing this week. Now, as far as tight ends go, David Njoku is another guy you might want to grab. He's available in 49% of most leagues. He's not the most consistent tight end. He blew it up on Thursday night game. He had with 89 receiving yards. He had a touchdown as well. His consistency has always been his biggest issue. Okay. But he's realistically right now the second best option behind Amari Cooper. So if you're looking to flex a tight end, if you're in a tight end premium, or maybe you've got, an injury at tight end, or your tight end's just underperforming, Njoku might be somebody you might want to consider to put in there. Last tight end I have is going to be Tyler Conklin. I don't know why he's still available. He's available in 79% of most leagues. He's seeing an average of 8 targets a game right now. He is probably the most consistent tight end going into this week 4. And he's still out there. I guess because it's the name that's just not familiar, but he's outscoring several tight ends this year so far in a Jets offense that's being really behind most games. So they're playing a lot of catch up. Now, obviously, Zach Wilson is expected to be back in week 4. So we'll see if that changes Conklin's targets. But right now with Flacco at the quarterback position, Conklin's been a really favorite target for him. And again, a really good tight end that you should be going after this week. So those are my waivers for quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight ends for week 4. If there are other players you that I may have missed or you guys want to mention, hit us up in the comments down below. Of course, if you have questions of who you should drop for any of these players, again, let us know in the comments, or of course our socials. We're on Twitter and Instagram. We'll be able to help you guys out. Again, we have one more Monday night game. Hopefully you guys come out victorious, and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That way you guys will be notified every time we drop this video just like this. And of course, we'll be dropping our start and sits to get you guys ready for this week as well. If you guys did enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button. It is greatly appreciated, and I'll check you guys out next time.